And we are here to give a blessing for this beautiful new library. And just a little bit of history. I'm here because when I went to Galileo High School, I worked as a library page here in the late 60s and early 70s. And I want to thank God for Miss Jackson. I don't know if she's around anymore, for taking the risk and hiring me. I learned to swim right there at North Beach Pool. Mr. Bluth, power to you too. Okay, now, if you know me, I always do a people's blessings. So when I raise my hand and I say a word out loud, you repeat it nice and loud. Right, Phil? Yeah. Okay, good, good. Here we go. I'll keep it short and sweet. May this new home for learning and inspiration be filled with great vibes of discovery, wisdom, truth, imagination, expanding horizons. For those who hunger and thirst for knowledge especially, may the spirit of peace, joy, and wonder bless this beautiful new North Beach Library.
Thank you so much, Reverend Fong. That was very inspiring. What a way to kick off this afternoon, and what a glorious day it is, isn't it? Welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Luis Herrera, City Librarian, and thank you very much. I've had the honor and the privilege of doing ribbon cuttings for 24. This is the 24th library, and let me tell you, it never gets old. It's fantastic. So we are here to celebrate the grand opening of a new wonderful icon in the North Beach neighborhood. And it represents the end of the largest capital improvement program in the history of the library. 24 projects, ladies and gentlemen. We should be proud as San Franciscans that every neighborhood library is seismically safe, we have ADA access, and we have state-of-the-art libraries for every neighborhood in our city. How about that? Isn't it fantastic? Really is a testament to all of you. But we are here to celebrate the last one, and perhaps the best one of the lot. And absolutely. And you know, how appropriate is it that this is Mother's Day weekend? Because, happy Mother's Day. But beyond that, this has been the mother of all projects, literally. So I couldn't resist that. But it is really the capstone to all the amazing projects. And you have a very special library. And I know we're going to have a program because it's important to acknowledge folks, but I can hardly wait for all of you to experience it. It really is truly beautiful. It's 60% larger than the prior library, which means that you'll have, for this amazing neighborhood that has such literary history, right? I mean, where else would you have two San Francisco poet laureates rise from here? Lawrence Ferlinghetti and Jack Hirschman, absolutely. 60% more space means that you'll have wonderful spaces for children to imagine, as the Reverend said, to be inspired. We're going to have the future scientists, perhaps the future engineers, future librarians, maybe even the future mayors come out of North Beach because they're inspired in our neighborhood library. That is fantastic. It has a teen space. It has an amazing, expansive living area here on this side, where everywhere you look outside, you'll see some icon from the North Beach Library. You'll see Coit Tower, or you'll see the cable cars. You see the spires from St. Peter and Paul. It's absolutely remarkable. And I want to thank Marcia Madam, where is she, Marcia, for her vision of giving us truly an amazing building. Some of you may have read the article this morning from John King that talked about the public spaces being magical and all the other sums of the public spaces really being an engaged delight. That really says it all from an architectural critic. So her vision and that of her team really is making a difference. So you'll hear more about that as we acknowledge individuals. But it also is a place that's state-of-the-art, more technology. We used to have 6 public terminals for access to technology. You'll have 22. You'll have Wi-Fi. You will have the library, the first library in the city connected to the city's fiber optic network. So you'll have broadband. You can transmit anything you want. That's what this library is going to be about. As the afternoon unfolds, I know we'll hear more and more about the wonderful library, but I think we should start by, first of all, thanking the community, all of you, for your patience, for your perseverance of making this a reality. You didn't want to settle for a modest renovation or expansion. You knew that for generations to come, you wanted an iconic building, and you're getting that. So thank you. Give yourselves a big round of applause. You also had a vision that you wanted your own civic plaza. You wanted that connection to a wonderful playground, and that will be realized as well. You'll hear more about that as well, but it's really a civic plaza that you should be very, very proud of. So thank you again. So the community was such a key partner, but it goes without saying that the city family comes together to deliver on the promise. And I'm very proud of having worked with an amazing team of individuals that need to be recognized today. We call it the BLIP team, the Branch Library Improvement Program team. And I'd like to start with our Chief of Branches, Ed Melton. Ed, back here. Elsie Wong. Elsie Wong has helped us with designs of quite a few libraries. From the DPW side, our terrific partners with Michelle Lee, our project manager. Where's Michelle? Michelle Lee, Julia Lowy, back there, doing fabulous work. Edgar Lopez, and I know we'll acknowledge other folks, but they've come together and really worked beautifully to make this happen. So I also want to recognize the folks that are going to be delivering excellent customer service, public service to all of you. And they deserve our recognition, beginning with our manager, Robert Carlson, Eric Barbas, children's librarian. There you go, Eric. Great support staff in Sean Lin, Chiu Ma, Jason Lee, and Betty Lee. Yeah, let's hear it for them, folks. Do great work. All right. Okay, so now, without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce our mayor. And let me just say a few things about Mayor Lee and his support. His handprint has been in the Branch Library Improvement Program throughout the entire 14 years, since 2000 when he was Director of Public Works, then when he was General Services Administrator. And as mayor, he's given us unwavering support to make sure that we came to this final fulfillment of the entire project. So with that, let's give a warm welcome to Mayor Ed Lee. Mayor.
Thank you, Luis, and congratulations again, our city librarian. Wonderful job he's doing. Right. Well, when he said handprint, I didn't put my handprints in any of the concrete, so please don't blame me for any disturbance on that. But I look at this crowd, I look at the T-shirts with all the different agencies printed on the back. We're really proud of this library. You are obviously an important part of San Francisco, and we bless it and we reflect it by the kind of energy and commitment that this library means. And after hearing the litany of things that we have done to make sure that this library leads with the entire modernization, even though it is labeled the final one, it is certainly not the final investment that we're going to be making in our branch libraries. Education for our kids, community centers where libraries become more than just your old libraries and my old libraries. They become community centers now, are equipped for people to come together, to exchange ideas and information, and provide hope for our kids so they can learn and constantly learn. And then the beauty of this particular site, it's right next to an exciting DiMaggio playground. That is just a wonderful siting for it. Yes. And I want to thank the supervisors again, David Chiu, Scott Wiener, and the other supervisors that are here. They've been here along with Senator Leno, literally on every one of our branch library openings. We've celebrated that time and time again, whether it was in the Bayview or out in the Excelsior. Time and time again, we celebrated this with literally every community around in San Francisco. This morning, we kicked off Proposition A, which is our Earthquake Safety Emergency Services Response Bond. We can only do that if we have used the bonds that you have graciously voted for and disciplined ourselves in finishing these projects to allow room for others and keeping the promise that we don't increase people's property taxes. It's a wonderful story. It's the capital story of the city. And I just want to thank everyone who is involved in that, because it's a promise that we can continue delivering great infrastructure, great institutions and places for people to be at, grow up in, be part of the community, if we do the right things to keep this thing going. And so we're lucky to even have an emergency response fund with our fire department and our police department, because we've retired these debts and done them the right way. But today, it's all about celebrating the opening of this library, looking at these kids who are going to be here for hours and have fun and be safe. And by God, isn't it a transformation of an old parking lot? Wasn't that? I can still visualize this. Driving down here in Columbus and saying, why can't we do something about that? And we used our innovation. We used our imagination. And then what else did we spawn from this? We just didn't build a library. I think as friends of the library are showing, as friends of the Joe DiMaggio Playground are showing, when we do things like this, we spawn community innovation to form agencies like Friends, to bring more people to come together and finish what we can't do. The Friends are going to need your help too, and I'm going to advocate just as strong for them, because we need some good furnishings. We need to finish up all the nice trimmings for it, so please help when you can. Friends of DiMaggio Playground, I know Reckin Park is here, and Phil's going to love it when I say, quite a nice blessing to have this together, each together, enriching each other. Because when the kids are playing, they could be reading, they could be looking up things, and then they go out and play again. And it's all in a safe community. The biggest thanks, though, are the people like you who never, ever gave up. You know, when Luis was saying the mother of all projects, sometimes we encounter those entities and those times when things get delayed and you get so frustrated. But it's the people of the community that rise up all the time and save us from being too distraught with that. And time again, the residents of North Beach and of Chinatown have risen up, just like you've done today, to celebrate, and given us the extra push that we have to defend against lawsuits, against claims, all for the future generations of our San Francisco residents. So I want to say, on behalf of everyone in the city, to the community of North Beach, thank you very much for your wonderful, wonderful persistency. The community meetings have been so many hours with people, and we understand that. And we could be in frustration today, but I think it's going to be a lot more celebration, because we visualize this wonderful, beautiful design that everybody's come together on and put together with the arts in it. Nam Cagney is here to celebrate that. With the education, with all of the different elements that we want to celebrate. This library is reflective of it all. So let's celebrate. It's not to end. It's yet another investment, and we'll go on. And by the way, I think Luis has got even more ideas about our main library with teen youth. We're modernizing everywhere we can, making sure that branch libraries are the centers of our communities. Thank you for always being here. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Mayor Lee. So our next individual has also been remarkably supportive. And when David Chiu was running for office, we approached him and he said, I'll support the library that you need. And he has been unwavering in his support. So I really, really appreciate that. Let's give a big hand to Board President David Chiu. David.
Let me start by saying, North Beach, this is your day. I can't believe that we are here. 14 years after we passed this bond measure, the last of 24 branch libraries, after dozens of designs, hundreds of meetings, and thousands of residents coming together, we finally have a North Beach library. This is personal for me for really two reasons. First, as Luis said, I did make a campaign promise in 2008 that this library would be done, and thank you for helping me to keep that promise. The first meeting I had after I was elected, 2 weeks after Election Day, November 2008, I had a meeting in my predecessor's office with Julie Christensen and some folks who are here. And we looked at the new designs for this building, and they all looked at me and said, Chiu, go get it done. And I told them, I think I could, we could probably move this forward in about 6 months, maybe. Well, 6 years later, after appeals and lawsuits and fights, folks who are fighting, and in fact, I will just remind people today, there are still folks who are fighting to build the Joe DiMaggio playground, who are still fighting families who are trying to build soccer fields in this city. We came together. The village of San Francisco, we came together. Our seniors and our disabled, our kids and our parents, look around you. We represent the diversity of the world right here in North Beach, and we got it done. Thank you for that. But just let me close with the second reason why this is so personal to me. We are all thinking about our mothers this weekend. And my mother brought me every Saturday to our local public library. I would not be here today if I wasn't a 6-year-old sitting in a public library every weekend, time in, time out. And for all the mothers who are here and all the grandmothers who are here, thank you for bringing our kids to our libraries. And part of why this is personal is 6 months ago, I put a ring on my finger. And my wife and I, we want to raise our kids here. And I want to be able to come into the library, this library someday, and have my 5-year-old tell me, David, thank you for this library. Daddy, yes. Yeah, I still have something to learn on that. So let me just end by saying, if all the kids who are here, and all the parents who are here, and all of us could just join me in the following, to say, we love the North Beach Library. Thank you so much for being here and being part of this dream.
Thank you, Daddy. He's young enough to be my son, but anyway, thank you so much. Our next supervisor, I think, has a record for attending more than any other board supervisor's ribbon-cutting events, and that's none other than Supervisor Scott Wiener. He's got 3 of the renovated libraries in his district, but I know he loves to attend because he really believes in libraries. So Scott Wiener, thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, everyone. Scott Wiener, I have the honor of representing District 8 on the Board of Supervisors. And Luis is right. When in the 3.5 years I've been in office, I really have made an effort to really support these renovations and to be there to celebrate when we open them. And part of the reason is, of course, when I took office, the libraries in my district had all been renovated, so I like to live vicariously through my colleagues. But more important, some people will say, well, why do we still need libraries in this day and age? And we know that libraries, it's not just about the books. That's important. These are community centers. These are the hearts of our community in so many ways. And our library system, our staff, Luis Herrera and his team, our library commission, all of the volunteers in every community in this city who are supporting our library system are just amazing. But I'll tell you that North Beach Library has a special place for me, and I've taken every opportunity to support moving this project forward. And I'm going to be a little bit more blunt than my colleague David Chiu or than the mayor. This library, this project was really a poster child for when you have a project that has broad and deep support throughout a community, so much incredible support in this community, such an essential project for the future of everyone in this neighborhood and the surrounding neighborhoods. And you had a small group of people who were able to tie it up for years and years and increase the costs and sue and appeal and sue and appeal. Got to the point where we were like, how many more times can we vote 11-0 at the Board of Supervisors to support this project? But in the end, far, far more often than not, the community wins. And we know that this library has such broad support in the community. This is a wonderful day for North Beach and for the rest of this city. So congratulations.
Thank you, Scott. Our next elected official has been a library supporter from the time he was a board supervisor to now in the state legislature. So it's my pleasure to welcome and introduce Senator Mark Leno. Senator.
Thanks, Luis. Thank you, Luis. Good afternoon, North Beach. It is great to be with you on this auspicious day. You know, it's not often we get to say the words, our tax dollars at work with a smile on our faces. But we are smiling today. And it's because of the determination, the commitment, the dedication, the tenacity of so many people here who have kept the eye on the ball, made sure that this continued to move forward, insisted that your elected officials made this happen. And now, 14 years later, 2 successful bond measures passed, $200 million wisely invested, and 24 projects now completed. This is a huge accomplishment. I show up at these ribbon cuttings because I know a good time when I see one, and nothing brings out a crowd like a library opening. And I have to tell you, I've got so many friends and colleagues in the legislature who are more than just a little envious of what we're able to get done here in San Francisco. So many other parts of the state are really plagued with much higher rates of unemployment. The drought's hitting them more severely than we're feeling the impact here, and they don't have the wherewithal to continue to reinvest in the public infrastructure that we're doing not only with this building, but across the street and in every neighborhood around San Francisco. So it's a day to count blessings. I also want to thank a hardworking and dedicated library commission for all the good work that you do on a regular basis. Of course, the impeccable work of the library staff and friends of the San Francisco Library, which have raised $12 million for fixtures and furniture and for equipment. And that's all of us contributing to Friends of the Library. So enjoy the day, and Supervisor Chiu is right. This is about the children. And there are kids here today who are going to be able to tell their children and their grandchildren that they were there that day we cut the ribbon and opened the new North Beach Library. And the opportunity for wonderment and adventure and learning is just about to unfold. You all made it happen. Thank you very much. And Luis, I know you've never seen one of these before. This is a proclamation from the California State Senate. I think you can find one hanging in every bathroom in each of the new renovated for you.
Thank you so much, Senator. So I mentioned that I was going to talk a little bit about some of the unique features that makes this library special. And we're very proud to have a great working relationship with the Arts Commission. The Arts Commission does public art, and they have commissioned a very unique and innovative one for this neighborhood branch, probably one of a kind. It's called Sonic Dreamscape, and it represents kind of the audio portion instead of public visual art. So along Columbus, you'll hear sounds of North Beach, whether it's the foghorns or sea lions or even dishes clanging. It's really an opportunity to also hear poets. The artist is none other than Bill Fontana, so he's with us today. Let's give him a round of applause for his innovation and creativity for that wonderful public art. And I'd also like to acknowledge the great collaboration that we have with the Arts Commission and their executive director, Tom DeCaney. Tom is here. Tom, thank you. Great colleague. And also the director of the Public Arts Program, Mary Chiu. Mary is also with us today. So thank you all for great work. We are very proud of the fact that most of our buildings, actually all of the buildings, have sustainable green practices in the renovations or constructions. Quite a few of them are either silver. We have, I think, 6 or 7 projects that are gold in terms of leading energy and efficient design. So this one is no exception. And let me just call out a few features. It has solar panels thanks to the working relationship with the Public Utilities Commission, and I want to especially thank Harlan Kelly, the general manager from PUC. Also our wonderful working partners with the Department of the Environment, our Green Stacks program that features a lot of resources on sustainability and the environment. They do great work. I know we have Sean Rosenmoth and Mark Palmer. Thank you for the great partnership that we have with you. And I know you probably don't know this, but there are 3,400 pairs of Levi's embedded as part of installation inside the building. So thank you, Levi Strauss, for your contribution. That saved us some money there. All right, so next wonderful partnership that I talked about with the Department of Public Works. He's a dear friend, a good colleague. It's been a terrific working partnership, Mohammed Nuru. Mohammed.
Thank you. Thank you all. First of all, I think I just want to start by just thanking all the architects, the landscape designers, the construction managers, the engineers who worked very, very hard with all the communities throughout San Francisco to improve our libraries. It's quite a huge undertaking. And it's all because of the 2000 bond that we passed. And that bond has allowed us to make all our libraries seismically fit, accessible, and meet the top green industry standards. But what's really special is the North Beach Library. And what's special about the North Beach Library is Mason Street. How many people remember what Mason Street used to look like? Cars used to go through here, and through the leadership of the community, we all worked together to vacate this street. And John Malamut, I see him here, our attorney. He worked very, very hard to make that happen. And next is the design for Joe DiMaggio Park, and we're going to connect them so that it all becomes one space, so you can come here, enjoy the library, go run around, swim, and it's just one nice piece of place in our neighborhood. A few people I want to thank is the project manager, Lena Chang and Michelle Lee, who worked very hard on the project. Dennis Oates. Dennis Oates has been on several of these projects, and he was on this project. Where's Dennis? He's here every day making sure that the work is going, and they were able to celebrate today. CLW Builders. CLW Builders has been the beneficiary of 6 of the libraries that we built, but what's most important is more than 35% of the workforce and the workers on these projects are San Francisco residents. So I want to thank them. Marsha Maiden, our architect, from Lendy Maiden, Stacy Architects, who was on the project from 2003, from the very beginning, to make the project very possible. Thank you, Marsha, for all your work. And of course, Lizzie, who's going to continue with all the landscaping and making this a major fabric of the North Beach community. Thank you very much. And congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you so much. All right, so I have a story to tell you about my next partner. He and I do an annual tour or visit to one of the local schools, the Argonne Elementary School, and we do a poetry reading. It's called Pocket in a Poem. We have a great time. So now they've coined a name for us. I'm Mr. Libraries, and he's Mr. Park. So it's a great relationship we've built in promoting reading and literacy throughout the city and our neighborhoods. So please welcome Phil Ginsberg. Phil.
He's actually Mr. Books, and I'm Mr. Parks. What a joy to be here. It's a long program, and I can tell by your faces that you guys are ready to go inside, so I will try to be brief. But this is such a joyous day. This is a story, get it? A story with a couple of different themes. One, it's a story about a beautiful partnership, and that's the partnership that the San Francisco Recreation and Park Department has with our public libraries. It's more than just showing up at Poem in Your Pocket Day. It is actually revitalizing community spaces like this. This is how cities are supposed to be. They're supposed to be libraries and parks and public plazas and places for people to congregate and get together and exchange and just feel community, learn, play, hang out. That's what this is about. So it's a story about partnership, and I really want to thank the library and Luis, you in particular, for your leadership and your partnership in trying to improve the quality of life in San Francisco for our families. It is the story of leadership, and our elected officials, from our mayor to our board president to Supervisor Wiener to State Senator Leno, who's here, they get it. They get it. They want to make life easier for us as families, and they're willing to make the tough choices and pick the tough fights to invest in San Francisco families, and we're so grateful for their leadership. But it's also your leadership and community leadership that has really made this happen, because this has been a long battle. Anytime you want to create positive change in San Francisco, you got to be prepared for a fight, right? We are a progressive city that hates change. And these fights, as good as our elected leadership is, they don't happen without all of you. They don't happen without people volunteering and standing up and showing up at commission meetings and showing up at Board of Supervisors hearings and collecting signatures, and people like Julie Christensen and Lizzie Hirsch. It just doesn't happen without community leaders. So thank you. Third, it's a story of partnership, and that is the partnership between our various public agencies, between the Arts Commission. Sarah Jones from our Planning Commission is here. They have to fight all this stuff for us to make it actually happen. It's a story of the Department of Public Works and Rec and Park and all these city agencies working together, but it's also a story of partnership between government and our community and all of our nonprofit partners like the Friends of the Public Library and the Friends of Joe DiMaggio Playground. We can't do it. Government can't do it alone, and we need partners. So thank you, partners. And lastly, it's a story of parks. We are going to have a beautiful, spectacular, renovated Joe DiMaggio Playground that is going to break ground in 2014 because of your investment, your support of Parks Bonds. We are investing $5.5 million. Our project manager, Karen Moni-Brodek, is here. I want to give her a big shout out on this project. And as great and as iconic as Joe DiMaggio Playground already is, when we are all done with it, when Julie Christensen is done with her amazing leadership, this is going to be the spot in the entire city. This is how cities are supposed to be. We are so excited to partner with all of you. Thank you very much.
Nicely done, Phil. Thanks. A couple of other folks. I noticed that in the audience, trying to hide, is our former deputy city librarian that had a lot to do with the success of this program, Jill Bourne. Let's give her a big round of applause. Come on up here, Jill. And I too want to thank Karen. Karen, thank you for your support. And I know we mentioned John Malamet, City Attorney's Office, but I believe Susan Cleveland Knowles is also here. So thank you all for your wonderful work in this project. Hey, Jill. I'm so happy the mayor mentioned the wonderful leadership and great support that we have from our Library Commission. It's been through thick and thin. They have been there for the entire duration of the Branch Library Improvement Program. So it's my pleasure to introduce our new Library Commission President, Teresa Ono. Teresa, thank you.
Thank you, Louise. Good afternoon. It's a great day for a branch opening, isn't it? You all look so excited and ready to get in, so I'll make it short. On behalf of my fellow commissioners, I want to thank you for coming to this historic event. My fellow commissioners that are here today are John Lee and Michael Nguyen. But I also want to thank the former commissioners who really struggled hard and did most of the work, and their hard work and dedication led us to this point. The former commissioners that are here are Joel Gomez, Charles Aguirres, Lee Munson, Lorna Randlett, Helen Batista, and Michael Breyer. Because of their hard work, we get to bear the fruits of the labor. As we mentioned before, this is the last of the 24 branches to have been upgraded as part of BLIP. It's been 2 bond measures and $200 million, but we got it done, so thank you, everyone. It is also fitting that we are here today because American Planning Association has named North Beach one of the 10 great neighborhoods in the nation. That's a top 10 across the United States, so give yourselves a hand on that. San Francisco is so lucky that we have 28 public branch libraries. A lot of other cities don't have that many, and a lot of them are closing them. But all of ours are Wi-Fi capable, they're all accessible, and also we're even starting to expand hours starting today. Yay! Thank you. This is all done thanks to you, the public, Department of Public Works, the Recreation and Parks Department, Friends of the Library, the architects, the construction crew, and most importantly, the great work of the San Francisco Public Library staff. So thank you very much and enjoy Mother's Day weekend.
Thank you, Commissioner. I do think it bears repeating. She mentioned new library hours. As of this weekend, all neighborhood branches are going to be open 36 more hours a week, folks. That's unprecedented. Many of your neighborhood libraries are open 7 days a week. At a time throughout the nation where some cities are actually looking at closing or shutting down libraries, we have been the beneficiaries of your support, San Franciscans who love libraries. So thank you. Give yourselves a big round of applause for that level of support. All right, we're almost there. We mentioned that it's about children today. And when you walk in there and see the children's room, one of the things you'll notice is some beautiful artwork representing a lot of different faces of North Beach. There were 200 different art pieces, and out of those, 50 were selected. It represents all the local schools, and I want to recognize the schools and the principals and teachers that helped coordinate this wonderful art program or art project at Hands from the Rafters. So first and foremost, Abby Herget, who coordinated the event. Yay! Yes, Abby. Mr. Gene Barassi from Garfield Elementary, Dr. Lisa Harris from St. Peter and Paul School, Mr. Alan Lee from John Lee Hall Chin Elementary School, and last but not least, Stephanie Young from Yikwo Elementary School. Let's give them a big round of applause. We also are thrilled that, as we noticed or mentioned, the main room is named after our first poet laureate, Lawrence Ferlinghetti. There's a beautiful bust as you walk in at the very corner. That was commissioned, and our artist is here. Her name is Dina Angel Wing. Dina, here she is. Thank you so much. It's a beautiful piece of art. Very much appreciated. Okay, now without further ado, you've heard repeatedly, and I think it bears mentioning, the wonderful support that we've had from the Friends of the Library. Our executive director has done a fabulous job, and he's here to tell you more about their work. Executive Director Scott Staub. Scott, thank you.
Thank you, Luis. It's a great pleasure to be here. You passed that bond that built the building, but it's you, the community, that came here today that actually made all the furniture, the fixtures, the stacks, everything in there you helped raise. From $20 to $79,000, we have over 436 donors that have given almost $500,000, and that's because of you. Thank you so much for your generous support. You'll walk in, you'll see the names on the wall, and if you still want to make a gift, you can. One gentleman just came up to me this afternoon and said, here's a check for $1,000. So I'm still taking gifts. We wouldn't have been able to have done this without the support of a really great volunteer committee, and she's going to follow me, but you all know Julie Christians, and I just want to really call out Julie. There's a couple other people I want to thank today for today's opening. That is Lerman and Mimi Owing for the New Sun Hong Kong. They provided food for us with Tan Chao and Phil Chin, and Recology have all helped support today's opening. So please join me in thanking them. And again, thank you all for your support.
All right, Julie, are you ready?
I am so ready.
Okay. I have to tell you, it's been a delight to work with Julie for many years on this project. She is really kind of the definition of persistence, leadership, and commitment. So thank you publicly, Julie, for all the work you did, and your committee, your group. So without further ado, Julie Christensen from our neighborhood.
So I'm going to bring it on home. You just guys got to get through me, and you're in. A few housekeeping things, because I will forget to say this when I get revved up at the end. So we're going to let you into the library. You're going to be able to get through. The Friends have some T-shirts to commemorate the day. We've got the taco truck, so if you want to hang around and eat lunch, you can do that. Mal's going to be playing until 3 o'clock. We got the bocce and the children's activities going, so you guys hang. We finally got our plaza. We got our space, so let's enjoy this day as much as we can. Okay, so to me, the fight, the struggle to build this library has very much been the struggle to decide what kind of neighborhood we want to be. In our neighborhood, we have political leaders who know us, who understand us, who hear us, and who have worked with us to get what we want. Mayor Ed Lee, our supervisors, Chiu, that's a good one. That's as good as your son calling you daddy. I was just trying to get over that. Aaron Peskin and David Chiu have put themselves on the line repeatedly for this project. Our commissioners, library, and planning, and recreation and parks, they have been asked over and over and over again to make hard decisions. There have been so many times that it would have been easier for them, politically, financially, administratively, to take the easy way out, and they stuck with us, and they helped make this happen. We owe them a lot. In our neighborhood, we know that there are amazing, talented, intelligent, capable, creative people working in our city government. We know that these people are not obstacles or adversaries. We know that they are our allies, our friends. In this project, actually, which started really, we're all talking about 2003, but in 1999, Gary Hoy, who had been the city architect, who at that point had come into planning for recreation and park, sat at a table in the old Joe D clubhouse and looked over at a set of plans at this triangle and said, you know, we could make this playground bigger. And we did. Luis Herrera, you know Luis Herrera is the head librarian. I don't know how many of you know him. I've had the pleasant opportunity to get to know him better over the last 11 years. But if you like your libraries, if you like those longer hours, if you like the quality of staff that he's brought in, it's all Luis and his people that have made our libraries so great. And he's the one that's really been under the hammer on this project, and he's the one that stood by us, and we're enormously grateful. Now, Luis Herrera and Phil Ginsberg are not only partners reading poetry, they've been lockstep on this project since Phil came on board. And we owe Phil a lot because he basically had to adopt a child that wasn't his. In order to have a library, we had to have a bigger park. It's been complicated. And Phil's another person who has stood by us and really helped make this project happen. Thank you, Phil. And we don't notice sometimes Mohammed Nuru and Public Works so much because they make everything work so smoothly. But I remember the day that Mohammed was pushing a wheelbarrow on this street, moving rocks around when we did our test closure park. He has been with us physically and emotionally all the way through this project, and his team is wonderful. We owe him a lot. And because this has been a litigious project, we also have to acknowledge John Malamet from the City Attorney's Office. And then this project has two fairy godmothers, two women who early on adopted this project and brought it close to their hearts and made it theirs, and without their help, we would have gotten so much less. Former City Deputy Librarian Jill Bourne and Rec Park Planner Karen Monty Brodak, this is their project. And I could go, there's so many city staffers, Michelle Jeffers, Mindy Linetsky, Lena Chen, Dennis Oates. There's so many people have contributed to this project. I'm hoping to go into detail about the Rec Park ones a year and a half from now when we open that project. But I hope they know how, I hope they know how much we appreciate their efforts. In our neighborhood, we have neighborhood organizations that come together not for power, but for service. We have neighborhood organizations who serve not only their constituents, but everyone in the neighborhood, even people they don't know. We have neighborhood organizations that serve the people in this neighborhood not only today, but years from now. people we may never meet, the people that will come after us. This project has required the coordination of so many of those organizations. Getting the land and making this happen, the Friends of Joe DiMaggio Playground, the Chinatown Community Development Center, the Tel-Hai Neighborhood Center, the Russian Hill Neighbors, and the PTO of every single school in this area. They've all called people to meetings, they've written letters, they've lobbied poor Supervisor Chiu, they have lobbied the mayor. Those people, those organizations have used the clout and the constituencies they have to help make this day happen, and we're grateful to all of them. In our neighborhood, we are a varied lot. We could easily be separated by origin and ethnicity, by age or income, by interests or affiliations, but we choose to find those projects that unite us, those common causes that bring us together, and we have, time and time again, for decades, worked as a community to make good things happen. And for me, the brightest spot of the effort that's been involved in this project has been the people that I've gotten to know. Dear Lizzie Hirsch, who's been the, yay Lizzie, who's been the coordinator and the vision and the good cop to my bad cop for 20 years now. Our steering committee from the Friends of Joe DiMaggio Playgrounds. That's Martha Mahoney, who runs our Halloween party every year, Teresa Del Santo, Terry Grenchek, Amy Miles. We've got June Frapps here today, who with Mark Bruno helped to collect signatures to take over the triangle. We've got Tan Chow, who's been just great in helping to organize the community with us. We have our artists, John Matos, who did our logos, Mikkel Oland, who took our photographs, Tony Williams, who's done our website. There's another 90 people, but what I should say, so Abby the artist who coordinated the children to do the piece. I think Abby and her son Frankie were at every single hearing. My favorite hearing was the one where Abby brings Frankie, who is now, what is he, 6'2"? She brings Frankie, and she brings the shirt he wore to the first hearing, which is this little minuscule toddler outfit. Lizzie's son was, I think, in diapers when we started this. He's at UCLA now. Let's see, Liz Diaz and Tina Moylan. There's so many people that called out the troops and came to help. Looking back, it was a struggle then, but all worthwhile. In our neighborhood, we don't all have a lot of money, but I think all of us give something. This project has put me in the position of knocking on a lot of doors and making a lot of phone calls, asking for help. I want to particularly acknowledge Phil Chin, who's been fantastic as a co-captain on this project. And Carolyn Ferris, who helped organize some of our events. We're indebted to Matthew Godot from the Friends of the Library Board, who was very helpful. We've got neighbors, the Rusenkos, my friend Maud Hallen. There's so many people who dug deep to give, but I'm especially touched by all of you who gave enough so that it pinched. I know there are a lot of people that they had to give up something. They had to do without something they wanted or needed in order to contribute money to this project. And it's those of you, the ones who had to think twice or 3 times before signing that check, that I want to really thank. And I want to let you know we've put your money to good use. And perhaps most important to me, has that got a banner on it that says no? Most important to me is that in my neighborhood, we believe in imagination and in the power of design to solve problems and to make things better. Design figured out how to make Coit Tower ADA accessible without a big ramp. Design figured out how to make our North Beach pool have wonderful dressing rooms and a new clubhouse without rebuilding the entire pool. Design figured out how to make Helen Wills and Russian Hill a multi-layered space, a great urban playground. And design has really come to bear in this project. And I'm grateful to the talented architects at Letty Madam Stacy for proving with their clever design that a triangle is a fabulous shape for a library. And it's been alluded to, I want all of you, before you go today, to go over to the corner there and have a look at the plans for the new Joe DiMaggio playground. Woo! Sorry. All you got to do is pay for it, Phil. So Lizzie Hirsch, who I met as a volunteer 20 years ago on the Pioneer Park project at Coit Tower, Lizzie is a talented landscape architect. She's gone from being a volunteer to being a landscape designer with the city. She used to work for Phil, now she works for Mohammed. And if you've seen a park in the city that you thought was fantastic, Lafayette, Cayuga, Julius Kahn, Sunnyside, if you've gone to a really spectacular park, the chances are pretty darn good that Lizzie was behind it. And the thing, congratulations. And the thing about Lizzie that I have appreciated over the last 2 decades, she's a talented designer. She knows how to spec the plants and the stone and all of this. But what I love about Lizzie is her heart. She raised 2 kids in this neighborhood. She knows what it's like to use a space. She plays tennis, and she knows how to convert that empathy and that understanding to places that people instinctively love. I remember on Helen Wills, Lizzie working on the plans saying, well, you know, the mothers are going to go up here on the boardwalk, and I think the kids are going to be on this little thing down here, and standing with her on open day and watching people use the park exactly as she envisioned they would, and having all of them think that they were discovering some accidental, wonderful, magical place, when in fact Lizzie had laid it out all for their enjoyment. And we are so lucky to have her be the designer of the Joe DiMaggio playground. She's done an incredible job, and I can't wait for it to be done. So on that note, paid political announcement, I just have to mention that we have 92% of the money that we need to build our playground. And it's going to be a little bit of a challenge for our neighborhood because we're going to roll right from fundraising for the library into fundraising for the playground. So we're going to be asking all of you to feel that pinch one more time. We're going to have a beautiful donor tile program for the park. It's going to be really nice. And so I hope all of you, each and every one of you, will consider at some level becoming contributors to the park, and that you do it soon, so that we can have all the nice things that we want, so that it'll be the beautiful place that we've envisioned. And we're not finished with the library, because we've been delivered today with this beautiful instrument. It's just ready for things to happen. And the great thing about this project, it's brought out a lot of the poets and the authors and the playwrights and the musicians from the neighborhood, eager to use the space. And so Robert Carlson, the librarian, has been a fantastic programmer of the library. I think we want that to continue and grow. It's a challenge now because all the other branches have figured it out. Robert used to be the only one doing all these cool things, and now we're finding that all these new branches all want funding and help to do their programs. So I think in North Beach, where we have such a wealth of people, and such a wealth of resources in terms of the talent that's here, that we can all afford to participate in some way to help organize or to attend the events that will go on in our beautiful library. And a special thanks today, of course, to Scott Staub and to the Friends who've stood by us with that campaign. We were the 24th project of theirs for the Branch Library Improvement Project, and somehow they managed to approach ours as if it was new and special and different and the first time. And so to Deborah Doyle, who helped organize the event today, and to Scott Staub and to the Friends and to their board, thank you so much. So this is the wrap up. I'm still trying to figure out how to make up for Aaron Chiu. I have to make that one up to David. How about if you love David as a supervisor, you'll really like him as a state assemblyman? How's that? So this is the deal. I've been talking about this library for 11 years. We all have. We've testified at hearings, we've spoken at community meetings, we've advocated with our city officials. We've been talking about this library for more than a decade. As of this day, May 2014, our library gets to speak for itself. And I like what it says about our neighborhood. Thank you all.
Yay, Julie. Let's hear it one more time for Julie Christensen. Thank you so much for your amazing work. I've been handed some scissors, so it's just about that time. But I want you to indulge me for a few minutes, only because this is the last of the 24 projects. And I do want to acknowledge my wonderful management team. Many of them are here today. Michael Lambert, our new Deputy City Librarian back here. Karen Strauss, our Chief of Branch. Laura Lent, our Collections Person, Chief. And Roberto Lombardi, our Facilities Director. And I know you've already mentioned Michelle Jeffers. So thank you all for your wonderful patience. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, are we ready, North Beach?